I'm Michael Burke, and this is Money Talks. Hi, welcome to Money Talks, and if this guy sitting across from me looks familiar, he should. This is Jim Ladwig, very recently county executive, and we're introducing you in your new role as RAMAC, Racine Area Manufacturers and Commerce President. So thanks for being on the show. I appreciate that.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
And we're recording this on January 21st, exactly 3 weeks after you started. So we're going to have a lot to talk about. You have such an interesting background. I was actually just telling my managing editor, you went to college for communications, you became a policeman, you became a drug investigator with the Sheriff's Department, then you went into politics as Register of Deeds, you became county executive, and now you came back to the private, or I don't know, back to is the right terminology, but entered the private sector, and you have a small business on the side, Mulligan's.
Correct.
So why don't we start with why you...
And I was also a realtor when I was a police officer for about 5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So why did you want to... You were at the top, county government spot, and why did you want to move across to the private sector?
Well, you know, several things. I've never viewed myself as a career politician. I believe that, you know, public service is good and it's something that you do, but it's not something I wanted to do my entire life. I never grew up saying, you know, I really want to get into politics. As a matter of fact, with my parents being in politics, I grew up saying I'm never going to go into politics.
Right?
Yes. So ultimately,
Jim and Bonnie Ladwig.
Yes, correct. And so really, that was never a goal of mine. And when I was in the Register of Deeds, I went in there initially. It was a challenge because there was a long backlog, etc. We were able to turn that around and fix some of the challenges that were there. Then when I ran for county exec, you know, I felt ultimately that we accomplished a lot of good things in this almost past 4 years. And I really felt that the budget was in good shape and the county is in good shape. That it was, with this opportunity, it was just a good time to transition from the public sector into the private sector. And another reason was my son's a freshman in high school, and I wanted to, he's active in sports, and I wanted to make sure that I was around him more than less, because in 4 years, he's going to be off to college, and, you know.
And the county exec job was demanding of your time and your hours in a day.
Absolutely. You know, and a lot of night meetings and that type of thing.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. I picked him up from basketball practice after I started this job, and he didn't get done till 6 o'clock is when basketball ended. So I picked him up, and he said to me, he goes, do you get out at this time all the time with your new job? You know, so just to show the difference. And then he said, well, you don't have any more meetings tonight? You know, because a lot of the time I could pick him up and then drop him off and go to another meeting, you know. So it was, you know, a combination of those factors. But you know, it was a great opportunity. RAMAC's a great organization that I really felt compelled to become part of it.
Before we talk just about the RAMAC job, by the way, I never saw that coming. That announcement, I absolutely never saw it coming. But I challenged you yesterday to come up with something you're going to miss about the county exec job and something you're not going to miss. So what'd you come up with?
Correct. Well, what I'm going to miss is I really like to be involved in the deals that are going on, to make things happen. And I'm not going to be out of that completely, but I'm not going to have the first-hand knowledge that I always did have. And I'm a hands-on person, so I'm going to miss that part of it. You know,
talking to developers, working on marina issues, things like that.
You know, just that that being part of the action.
Mm-hmm.
We still have a lot of good things going here, but it's just different because you're not bringing in the business. You're working with the existing businesses, promoting them, but it's not that, hey, we just landed this company that's coming in, with 250 new jobs, UNFI type things. That kind of making that.
So you'll miss the deal making.
So
what will you not miss? Probably the night meetings.
I won't miss the night meetings. I won't miss. My wife and I were driving right after the New Year, and it had snowed, and we were driving, and I said, the nice part is I don't have to take any phone calls about the conditions of the roads.
Right.
So that type of stuff.
Okay.
Those are the things that I won't miss.
Okay. So again, 3 weeks into this job, I know that I'm interested kind of in what happens in a day in the life of the RAMAC president. Yesterday you mentioned that you met with 2 prospective members. Do you want to just mention who they were, how that came about, and whether you think that...
Absolutely. I actually started my day at 7 o'clock yesterday at a ribbon cutting for the new spec building out there, the Land O'Lakes building out right by Highway 20. And then after that I met with Tom Bodie from Bodie Financial, who I've known for years, and when I took the job, he said, I've never been involved in RAMAC. I'd like to know more about it. Mm-hmm. So we set up a meeting, and I talked with Tom, and him and his company are going to be joining RAMAC. So that was great news. He gave me the Bodie Financial Cup, so we're really excited to have him as a new member as well. And then I also I spoke at a business luncheon from about 11:30 till 1:15, and
what group?
It's I don't know the exact group. There were about 40-50 people there, and they met actually downtown here at John's Dock, and it's just a
like a networking?
Yeah, like a networking small business group. And we, talked with them. And then after that, I met with Corey Oakland from the Red Onion. And we had talked about, some of the things we can do at RAMAC for his business. And Corey is going to be a new member as well.
So I want to hear more about the things that RAMAC can do for a business. But what is the current membership, and what would the peak number have been? Do you have any idea?
We're a little over 400 right now. Back in when I cite this number, I mean, we're talking back in the early 90s, was probably around 600 plus. I
know RAMAC got hit hard by the recession because companies obviously were cutting anywhere they could cut to try to stay afloat. I know membership tailed off.
And in small business, I mean, when you're talking about a real small business, a service retail that has minimal employees, it's $275, $350, depending on how many employees you have, and that they tend to look at wherever they can cut it. It's kind of funny because for Mulligan's years ago, I went to a marketing event, and one of the things they said is, look, when times get tough, what gets cut is the marketing budget. Well, realistically, they said when times get tough, that's where you should beef up.
Money.
So it's just human nature and what happens.
So how do you make that? What argument do you make to prospective members? What's the value that RAMAC gives them?
And I think it varies depending on what business you're in. We have a lot of different services. And you have to look at it as a holistic thing. You can't just say one thing or another, but whether it be getting involved in public policy, but we also have talent development. So we have tons of training opportunities, Living as a Leader program, the Leadership Racine program, Marketing Roundtable, HR Roundtable. All of those are value added to these businesses. we also have tremendous networking opportunities. You know, the business blender, the annual dinner, the awards dinner, the golf outing. All of those things are opportunities for our members to network with one another, to promote one another. We also have the Business Quarterly that we actually do in conjunction with the Journal-Times to basically promote our business and let everybody know what RAMAC is doing on a quarterly basis. And when you join, we highlight you as a new member. You know, you have a blurb in there, and we always encourage our membership to shop and utilize other members. Now, you know, that's for the retail service industry. Then obviously we have a lot of our larger businesses that we offer trainings for, that we you know, can represent them at the whether it be the state level, the federal level, or even the local level, on legislative issues that may have an impact on that.
By the way, training, you mentioned to me yesterday that forklift training is actually one of the most popular,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's really kind of interesting to think about but basically anybody who is moving a product,
correct,
is moving it probably on pallets.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. You go into any manufacturer, any warehouse situation, they have fork trucks.
Yeah. And the leadership training, we should say, that is not something that RAMAC teaches.
We don't do it. We obviously contract. We don't. RAMAC doesn't do any of the training specifically. We'll work with our partners, whether it be Living as a Leader, whether it be Gateway. The one program we do run is the Leadership Racine program. But all of those others, you know, we do it.
They're contract services.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I'm a firm believer, whether it be here or in the county executive seat, you put people that know what they're doing in positions to succeed.
Right.
So,
right.
Jim teaching them how to work a fork truck probably won't cut it.
So what are your goals for the first year?
You know, I have a lot of goals. First of all, I would make the argument that over the last 5 to 7 years, and let me tell you, first of all, Drew Abram, who was the interim director, did a tremendous job of helping write RAMAC and make sure that the you know, things were stable and everything. So Drew deserves a lot of credit for his 18 months.
That's what I heard too, all the way through.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't want to be critical there, but over the last 5 to 7 years, I would say RAMAC has lost a lot of its relevancy. You know, years ago, RAMAC was instrumental in the joint dispatch conversation. We were doing a lot of different things. We had a lot of touch points. And
let me mention Roger Caron's name at that point in the conversation.
Yes,
he was the one who was leading all of those things.
Absolutely, and I actually have to.
And let me also mention,
sure,
Roger, you still owe me a drink. You still owe me a martini. Keeps promising me and never delivering.
Yes, well, you know what, Roger actually, I believe, is in Arizona this week, or maybe Mexico. I don't know.
He's always got an excuse.
Yes, but Roger was obviously the catalyst behind RAMAC becoming relevant. He did a tremendous job of really making RAMAC what it was, you know.
So what's an issue like that of today? You know, back then it was creating joint dispatch,
right?
So everybody saves some money. What's an issue today?
Well, and let me. What I'm saying is we have to have those touch points, and I would say a potential issue would be looking at whether it be a consolidation of fire and EMS services. That's a possibility. But it's not just consolidation. It's all of those different touch points. When I talk about public policy, you know what? We're going to host mayoral and county executive debates.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay. We're going to host legislative breakfast. We're having a unified give a presentation on the high school transformation program that they're proposing. All of these areas are to me are public policy, all the way down to the smallest thing where, you know, there might be a restaurant on Main Street that wants to put tables and chairs on the sidewalk during the summer, and they don't know how to navigate through, the government bureaucracy that occurs.
Yeah.
Those are all public policy issues. So it's not just, hey, they're looking, let's consolidate this, or, working with our larger companies that there's legislation that may have an impact on them, those are all public policy issues that we're focused on. But we have to be more involved in public policy, and that has really been lacking. And part of it is we have to be real involved in Racine Unified and make sure that ultimately that they're producing kids that can go into the workforce and fill the voids that we currently have.
Which is, of course, a critical issue right now with the baby boom
absolutely.
Peaking at near
Absolutely,
retirement
because
age.
and I always say this: if our businesses here are not able to find employees, what's going to happen? They're going to go elsewhere to find employees, and we don't want that to happen.
Right. Well, listen, Jim, let me end the discussion with this quick question. Numerical question for you. You're a little over 400 members. Where would you like to see it at the end of 2015?
Ultimately, I would say probably 475-ish.
Okay.
I'd love to see it at 1,000.
Yeah. But you think that's an achievable
realistically,
goal?
I think we could easily be 450, 475.
All right. We will check back in with you. Thanks a lot for watching. We've been with Jim Ladwig, the new president of Racine Area Manufacturers and Commerce. Behind the camera is Greg Shaver. I'm Michael Burke. Thanks again.